All right, people, I'm back again. I'm talking about youth, adolescence. But the Bible should tell you a lot of answers to a lot of things that you're going through, because today's youth think they ain't responsible for what they do. You see, but we got all kind of things out here to try to dumb it down. Like, take a parent. When a female child goes through puberty and they go out there and they put on birth control, most people think that's helping them. No, it's not. That's not. All that's teaching them is they can have sex with no consequences. As far as the baby is concerned, creating a child is concerned. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's all that gives a child is leeway to go out there and sleep around and do things they shouldn't do. A youth, I mean. That's all it does. No consequences. You can go out here and just sleep around with as many people you want without getting pregnant. You know, I got two sisters that got pregnant at 13 or 14 years old. And at the time, I didn't even think badly about it. I like, it is what it is. It didn't bother me. And I'm sure my mom was upset a little bit, but it didn't bother us. Because you at that age, well, you're responsible. Abortion never crossed their minds that I know of. They had their children, and they were young. You understand? And I think their children were meant to come around that time period. You see, if we start looking at things from a different perspective, we'll look at things from a different perspective. We'll understand things a little bit more. You understand? Birth control. Basically, you saying you can have sex with no babies. But I guarantee you, if you let them make that choice on their own and they get pregnant, they're going to think twice about having sex again. You got to let things happen naturally. There's no such thing as both birth control in the animal kingdom. When a dog or a cat is able to have babies, guess what? They can have babies. Right? And it's not considered wrong either. Why is it considered wrong now? Because they're 13, just a baby. No, they're a youth. They're no babies. Glory be to God that a lot of kids ain't popping out children, because I'm sure mainly it's probably because of parents putting them on birth control. But that's okay. I love my nephews. They came young. I learned how to take care of children at 13. I used to babysit, and I loved it. And I love my nephews and nieces. Whether they came, I don't think there's no such thing as they came too early. I don't think so. You understand? When you're able to pop out a baby and you're able to create a baby, let's put it this way. You on your way to adulthood, and you are responsible for that. You know, but I don't agree with a lot of things. No, I don't think birth control should be put on a child. Teach them some lessons. Teach them self-control. That's not teaching self-control. You giving a young girl a loaded weapon once you put them on birth control. Oh, I don't want them to have babies. Why? Let them. They want to go out there and act grown? Let them be grown. And then you got all these young people having babies now, and then when they're kids, I can't even enjoy it. I can't even go to the club now because I got these kids. Well, maybe you don't need to be going to the club. Maybe God bless you with a child. Keep your butt at home and grow you up. I'm gonna be honest, people. When I was growing up, I can't remember. I know me. I don't know about my brothers, but I don't remember my mom, unless she's going to church and she wants us to go. You understand? Dropping us off over our auntie house or grandmama house so she can go to the club. I don't remember it. I don't know where this new stuff come from, but that's the new thing now. You understand? Let's drop the kids off to the grandparents so we can go clubbing. Because I didn't get a chance to enjoy myself. Yes, you did, because you were having sex at 14, 15 years old. You've been enjoying yourself. It ain't nobody else's fault but yours. I wasn't ready to have a child. You was ready to open your legs and you was ready to pull out your penis, man. Time to man up. You know? And both my sisters still graduated from high school. And I've seen so many people still graduate pregnant. And there's nothing wrong with that. You understand? They taught some, they learned, they grew up earlier. But like I'm telling you, this world right now, they don't believe in responsibility. Then you got abortion running crazy, so well, I can get pregnant and just have abortion now. If I would have read before in Ecclesiastes, he said, who knows how a baby grows on, how God put that together? The Bible talks about a baby forming in the womb, a human being. That's what it is. It's not fully human. What is it then? It's a human. It's a human being made in your stomach. I'm telling you, back in the day, that junk wasn't an option. You know, think about it. Talk to some of these old people. Yeah, they were married since they were 14 years old. They're married since they were 15 years old. Okay, it's time to bring that back. You wanna sleep with my daughter and get her pregnant? Hey, y'all finna get married. It is what it is. Consequences, buddy. Consequences. Shoot. Your parent ain't get you to lay down. You lay down on your own. So people stop looking at youth like they ain't adults. They are. They're young adults. They can do the same thing a grown man can do. You know, they think about it. The job, they start letting children work at a young age with a permission slip. They can go work at McDonald's with a work permit. But you don't want to consider them adults. They are adults. 13, 12 is the age of accountability. Trust it. I'm just being real, man. It's time for these young people to understand that y'all are grown people now. You just go to school, but you're still under your mother's roof. So you gotta respect your parents too. You understand? I'm not trying to beat nobody up this morning. Just talking about adolescence. I know when I started acting grown, you understand? And a lot of kids are. But once that virginity been broken, childhood is out the window. But it's a lot of kids that are not having sex. Glory be to God. That they're not. That they don't want to. Glory be to God. But I'm going to tell you, just like I know for myself, once a child gets a taste of sexual intercourse, one of the best things God created, they're going to want more. I know I did. When I was a young child, I wanted more of it. Like, what is this? So once they have, you might well just put the gloves on and be hard with them. Once they start having sex, it's no turning back. You understand? It's no turning back after that. They adulthood now. And I think as long as they don't have sex, but if you put that fear of the Lord in their head about fornication, they might think twice. They might still do it, but they might think twice about it. If you encourage your kids, hey, you need to find you a husband or a wife. Just because this is your boyfriend or your girlfriend in school, that don't mean they're your husband or your wife. That don't mean you should have sex with them. You can be a boyfriend and a girlfriend without sex intercourse. You can do like they did in the old school days. They called it courting. Courting. Courting was getting to know somebody. If I knew what I knew now, my life probably would have been a little different. I probably would have held my virginity for as long as I could. But I was thinking I was going to marry this young girl. And then your parents tell you about puppy love. It's just puppy love, baby. Puppy love. Because your parents done been through some things. But there are people who've been together since they were 14 years old. Now think about this. This day and age, you got 2 kids that met when they were 14, 13 years old. And they still together. And some of them probably start having sex with each other. And they still together into their 20s and they get married. Now, no harm, no foul in that place. In a way, you know, they still with the person. They still were fornicating because they weren't married, but they married them. No harm, no foul. If you look at it from a different perspective. But that's not going to work with them up. Because every youngster think when they get with somebody, when they get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, that they're in love. But I'm telling you something. Once you throw sex in the mix, it's lust. Lust didn't happen. Once you throw sex in there, love out the window. I know me when I was young. Once I had sex, when I was around my girlfriend, that what was on my mind. When is it gonna go down? I'm just being real. You know, I'm not one of them perfect Christians that was married one person. I've been through some things. Think about it now. Everything I'm telling you should make perfect sense. You understand? Don't get mad, don't get upset. It is what it is. So you got to start talking to children, youths, like adults, because they got adult bodies now. You can't keep baby talking them. You got to talk to them about the real things, the wiles of the world. You got to tell them the truth. Don't sugarcoat nothing. I got a daughter, and she's 18. I don't know if she had sex or not. I hope she haven't. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe so, but I'm sure she had a few crushes and stuff like that. But I know one thing I didn't did. I've been training her since she was about 3 years old about the word of God and the fear of the Lord. You know, not too much with my son because I went through a divorce after that. And I ain't spent a real lot of time with my son. I still don't, and I hate that. You understand that I can't train him up how I want. Texting and talking on the phone ain't the same as face-to-face encounters, you know. But at least, hopefully what I taught my daughter rubs off on my son through her. You understand? I would rather my kids not have sex. My son will be 13. He's about to go through puberty. You know what I'm saying? He's coming up on that time frame. He's in middle school. Starting to feel yourself. You know, in middle school, you start putting on deodorant, you start putting on a little smell good. Don't that sound like an adult? Don't that sound like adulthood? Do you understand what I'm saying? But you want to keep your kids innocent. But just remember, if your kid is 14 or 13 and they get pregnant, don't beat them up. Don't beat them up. Their body is developed enough to have a child. Just be like, hey, you made a mistake, you fornicated, you got pregnant, you finna have this baby. Lesson learned. You understand? Right now, you need to teach kids that marriage is honorable. Fornication is wrong. Marriage is between a relationship is supposed to be a male and female. You need to tell them all that because the world telling them all these different things. You can date the same sex. No, you can't. Not according to my word. You need to tell your kids that. You don't need to tell your kids to be happy with it. You need to teach your kids now to stop hanging with those type people. You got no choice but to go to school with them. And they allow this craziness go on our own. But you need to tell them, hey man, be careful with that. One thing about spiritual energy, it transfers. Your son or your daughter can be straight as an arrow, but let them keep hanging around these demons and this spiritual entity. You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna bleed off in them. Now they're gonna think they were born gay or lesbian. Now they're gonna start being confused. You need to tell them. Like I said, I'd rather my daughter have male friends right now. I'm just being real with how this world is. Rather my son have female friends. The way this world is, I'm telling you, boy, it's getting turned upside down out here. But just remember, you youths, tell this to your kids. Once they reach puberty, they youths. And the Bible tell you, youths are responsible for their own actions. I don't know why I'm talking about this today. This is something different, but glory be to God. And if you're a youth and you listen to this video, hey, if you haven't given your life to God, do it now. Don't wait. You might be going to church, but you might ain't giving your life to God. Or your preacher might not be telling you the ins and outs of this real world. It's time, people, to give your life over to God and let him start the process, and you young now. You know, like I said, I was raised in the church, but I wasn't really taught the rules and statutes and regulations of the Bible. I knew church. I knew I was going to church, but I didn't know everything because it wasn't taught. The Ten Commandments wasn't taught that much. Yeah, people had the pictures in their walls and stuff like that, but it wasn't. Remember the footprints? People used to think that was in the Bible. But I'm just being real, people. It's time to wake up and start teaching your kids early. Start when they about to go to school. Let's put it this way: if your kids start going to school at 5, from 1 to 4, you might need to be telling them about God, putting it in their young head. And then when they in elementary school, you need to keep teaching them, because once they reach that 13 year, once they reach that adolescence, I'm telling you, it's like they on their own, but they're accountable. It makes sense once you become an adult. But at the same time, I don't know how old those children were that Elijah cursed because they was disrespecting the man of God. And God allowed a bear to eat them up. So, you see what I'm saying? I don't know how this works. That's why you need to teach your kids to fear God early. If God can send a bear out of the woods to tear some bad kids up, hey, God sees differently from we do. That's all I got for y'all today, people. Have a blessed one.